Welcome back to the Third Brain Channel. Sit back, relax for a few minutes. Let's make the world a better place, one video at a time.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed
Mm,
how the words we use and even the thoughts we think
yeah.
have this incredible power to shape not just our own lives, but the lives of those around us?
It's true. It's
Yeah,
something we often overlook. There's this fascinating connection between our inner world and our outer experiences.
exactly. And that connection is what we're going to dive into today.
Right.
We'll be exploring the transformative power of positive energy and something called tactical empathy.
Interesting.
Think of this deep dive as your guide to using these concepts for a more fulfilling and impactful life.
Okay.
To illustrate just how powerful these ideas can be, we'll be weaving in the story of Ethan, a man who literally turned his life around using these very principles.
Ethan's journey is a great example of how we can all harness these concepts to navigate challenges and create positive change.
Okay, so to really grasp the impact of our words and thoughts, let's picture a common scenario. You're at a social gathering, maybe catching up with friends,
Mm-hmm.
and someone makes a thoughtless comment about another friend's outfit.
Yeah, I've been there.
Even if it wasn't intended to be hurtful, that comment hangs in the air and changes the mood. It's almost like you can feel the energy shift in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever experienced something like that?
Absolutely. And that shift happens because there's a powerful chain reaction at play. It starts with our thoughts, which trigger emotions. And those emotions then influence what we say and do. So, for example, a fleeting thought of judgment might lead to a feeling of superiority,
Yeah.
which then spills out as a critical remark, even if we later regret it.
So it's not just about being polite on the surface.
Mm.
Our inner world truly does ripple outward and impact our experiences and relationships.
Precisely. The encouraging thing is that this chain reaction can work in a positive direction as well. When we cultivate positive thoughts, they generate positive emotions, which in turn lead to more positive words and actions.
Uh-huh.
It's like an upward spiral, building momentum towards a better reality.
That's such a powerful image, an upward spiral. So where does this positive energy come from?
Hmm.
Is it something we have to search for, or is it already within us?
It's both, actually. It's all around us and within us, waiting to be tapped into.
Okay.
Think about the feeling you get when you appreciate a beautiful sunset,
Yeah.
express gratitude for a loved one, or lose yourself in the flow of creative activity. These are all sources of positive energy.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this connects to Ethan's story.
Ah,
You mentioned that he was really struggling before discovering these concepts.
right.
Can you paint a picture of what his life was like?
Sure. Ethan was caught in a cycle of negativity. He had low self-esteem,
Yeah.
constantly criticized himself and others, and viewed the world through a pessimistic lens. This negativity affected every aspect of his life, especially his relationships. He felt isolated and defeated.
It sounds like he was trapped in that downward spiral we talked about earlier.
Exactly. And for Ethan, things eventually reached a breaking point.
Hmm.
He lost his job, his close friendships suffered, and even his romantic relationship fell apart. He felt utterly lost and hopeless. It was during this incredibly difficult period that he stumbled upon a book about the power of positive thinking.
So this book was the catalyst for his transformation.
It was.
What was it about the book that resonated so deeply with him?
The book emphasized the importance of shifting our inner dialogue
Okay.
and focusing on gratitude, self-compassion, and forgiveness. Ethan, desperate for change, began to consciously apply these principles, even though it felt incredibly difficult at first.
It must have been a real struggle to break free from those deeply ingrained patterns of negativity. What were some of the first changes he noticed?
One of the most significant changes was in how he started to view himself and the world. He began to notice the good, even in challenging situations, and found himself less critical of himself and others. As his inner dialogue shifted, his interactions with others became more positive and genuine.
So it sounds like the changes started within him and then radiated outward, impacting his relationships and overall well-being.
That's right. He began rebuilding connections with friends, rediscovering his passions, and eventually even found a new job that he found fulfilling.
Wow.
But Ethan's transformation didn't stop there.
Okay.
He also began incorporating the concept of tactical empathy into his life.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Tactical empathy, from what I've read, sounds like something straight out of an FBI negotiation handbook.
You're not far off. It was actually developed by Chris Voss, a former FBI hostage negotiator.
Right.
But it's applicable to everyday life as well. At its core, tactical empathy is about understanding the emotions and needs of others, even in challenging situations.
So how did Ethan apply this concept in his own life, outside of a hostage situation?
He started by becoming a truly active listener. Instead of just hearing the words, he focused on understanding the emotions behind them, paying attention to tone, body language, and unspoken cues.
So it's about going beyond just the surface level of communication
Right.
and tuning into those deeper layers of emotion.
Exactly. And once you recognize those emotions, the next step is to acknowledge them,
Ah.
to let the other person know you understand what they're feeling. For example, you might say, "You sound frustrated," or "I can sense that this is really important to you."
I imagine that simple act of acknowledging their emotions can make someone feel heard and validated, which can de-escalate a potentially tense situation.
Absolutely. It shows that you're not dismissing their feelings, but rather trying to see things from their perspective. And that's the final step in tactical empathy, validating their perspective.
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree with it, it's about saying, "I hear you. I understand where you're coming from."
So instead of getting caught up in being right or wrong, you're creating a space for genuine connection and understanding.
Precisely. And that's the power of tactical empathy. It allows us to navigate challenging conversations with more grace and effectiveness.
So how can our listeners start incorporating tactical empathy into their own lives?
Yeah,
It sounds like a valuable skill, but I imagine it takes practice.
it does. But the beauty of it is that you can start small. Next time you're in a conversation, make a conscious effort to truly listen to the other person.
Okay.
Pay attention to their nonverbal cues, acknowledge their emotions, and try to see things from their point of view.
So Ethan's story is a fantastic example of how cultivating positive energy and using tactical empathy can lead to a truly fulfilling life. But let's bring this back to you, the listener. Imagine you're facing a challenging interaction, maybe a conflict with a coworker or a difficult conversation with a loved one.
Right.
How could you use these principles to navigate that situation more effectively?
That's an excellent question to ponder. We'll explore some more practical tips and examples in just a moment. It can be incredibly empowering to realize that you have the tools to turn challenging situations into opportunities for growth and connection.
Absolutely. And speaking of tools, let's shift gears now and explore some practical ways you can cultivate more positive energy in your daily life.
Okay.
We've talked about the amazing transformations that can happen when you tap into this positive energy.
Right.
But where do you even begin?
Well, it's not about finding some magical secret or
Yeah.
following a rigid set of rules. It's more about discovering what truly resonates with you and incorporating practices that feel authentic and energizing.
So it's a journey of self-discovery, finding what works best for you. What are some practices people can experiment with?
One of the simplest yet most powerful practices is starting your day with gratitude.
Okay.
Take a few moments each morning to reflect on the things you're grateful for, no matter how big or small. It could be something as basic as a warm cup of coffee, a sunny day, or the love of your family.
It sounds so easy,
Yeah.
yet I can see how intentionally focusing on gratitude can set a positive tone for the entire day.
Exactly. It's about shifting your perspective to appreciate the abundance in your life
Right.
rather than dwelling on what's lacking. And if you want to take it a step further, try gratitude journaling. Each day, write down a few things you're thankful for.
Okay.
It's a great way to train your mind to notice and appreciate the good.
And while we're talking about training our minds, what about that inner voice we all have? Can that impact our energy levels?
Absolutely. The way you talk to yourself has a huge impact on your overall well-being. We tend to be our own harshest critics.
Yeah.
But imagine if you spoke to your best friend the way you sometimes speak to yourself.
Ouch, that's a good point. I know I'd never tolerate that kind of negativity from anyone else. So how can we cultivate a more positive and supportive inner dialogue?
It starts with becoming aware of those negative thought patterns. Once you recognize them, challenge them. Ask yourself if those thoughts are truly helpful or if they're simply based on fear or insecurity.
Yeah.
And then consciously replace those negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Focus on your strengths, celebrate your accomplishments, and remind yourself of your worth.
It's like we're actively choosing to focus on the good rather than letting the negative take over.
Right.
And speaking of choosing our focus, what about our external environment?
Yeah,
Can that play a role in our energy levels?
without a doubt.
Okay.
Spending time in nature is one of the most powerful ways to reset and recharge. Go for a walk in the park, hike in the woods, sit by a lake, or even just step outside and take a few deep breaths of fresh air.
Okay.
Notice the sights, sounds, and sensations around you.
I know I always feel more grounded and at peace after spending time outdoors. It's like nature has this magical ability to soothe the soul and restore a sense of balance.
It really does. And speaking of surroundings, the people we spend time with also have a profound impact on our energy. Surround yourself with positive people who uplift and inspire you,
Right.
those who support your growth and celebrate your successes.
It's so true. Their energy becomes contagious.
Yeah.
And it's important to choose to be around those who lift us up rather than drag us down. Now, I'm curious about the idea of helping others. How does that play into cultivating positive energy?
Helping others is one of the most rewarding and energizing things you can do. When you shift your focus from your own problems to making a difference in the lives of others, something incredible happens.
You gain a new perspective.
Exactly. And it fills you with a sense of purpose and connection. Volunteering your time, donating to a worthy cause, or even just doing something kind for a friend or stranger can create a ripple effect of positivity, not just for those you're helping, but for yourself as well.
That's like that saying, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. But what about those times when we're feeling overwhelmed or stressed?
Yeah.
Are there practices that can help us find a sense of calm amidst the chaos?
Absolutely. Mindfulness is an incredibly powerful tool for managing stress and cultivating inner peace. It's about paying attention to the present moment without judgment, simply observing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without getting carried away by them.
I've heard a lot about mindfulness, but I'm not always sure what it looks like in practice.
Mm.
Can you give us some tangible examples?
Of course. It can be as simple as focusing on your breath,
Oh.
noticing the sensations of your body as you walk, or really paying attention to the taste and texture of your food. It's about bringing your awareness to the present moment rather than letting your mind race ahead to the future or dwell on the past.
So it's about breaking free from that constant mental chatter and finding a sense of stillness within.
Exactly. And there are so many benefits to mindfulness. It can help reduce stress, increase focus, and improve your overall well-being.
It sounds like a valuable skill to cultivate, especially in our fast-paced, constantly connected world. Are there any other practices we can explore that might help us tap into positive energy?
Music is another incredible tool for influencing our emotions and energy levels.
Okay.
Listen to uplifting music that makes you feel happy, inspired, and motivated.
Yeah.
Create playlists that align with different moods or activities. Music has a profound effect on our subconscious mind,
Right.
and it can be a powerful way to shift your energy.
I know. I always have certain songs that instantly boost my mood. It's like an injection of positive energy.
And don't underestimate the power of creativity. Engaging in creative activities can be a wonderful way to express yourself, reduce stress, and boost your mood. Whether it's painting, writing, dancing, playing music, or any other form of creative expression, it's about tapping into that flow state and letting your imagination soar.
So it's not just about the end product. It's about the process of creating something new and letting go of those inhibitions.
I love that. And finally, let's not forget the importance of self-care. Getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet, and exercising regularly are crucial for maintaining physical and mental well-being.
It's so true. When we neglect our basic needs, our energy levels plummet, and it becomes much harder to cultivate positivity and resilience.
Exactly. All of these practices work together to create a foundation for positive energy and well-being.
It's amazing how many different avenues there are to explore. It's like a buffet of positive energy practices.
Yeah,
And you can choose the ones that feel most nourishing to you.
that's a great analogy. And the beauty of it is that you don't have to do everything at once. Start by incorporating one or two practices into your daily routine and see how you feel.
It's about progress, not
Right.
perfection.
Right.
Finding what works for you and building from there.
Exactly.
As we wrap up our deep dive into positive energy and tactical empathy, is there a final thought you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Think about this. If you could infuse just one conversation today with the positive energy and tactical empathy we've been discussing, which conversation would you choose and why?
That's a powerful question to reflect on.
Yeah.
It really challenges us to consider how we can bring these principles into our everyday interactions
Right.
and create a ripple effect of positivity.
Exactly. Even small shifts in our energy and communication can have a significant impact on the people around us,
Yeah.
even if we never fully realize the extent of that impact.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into positive energy and tactical empathy.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've gained some valuable insights and practical tools to enhance your own life and the lives of those around you.
Absolutely.
Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. Be kind to yourself, keep practicing, and see how your world transforms one positive interaction at a time.